What was your question?
Sorry, it was an accidental button push. But now that I'm on, I was just wondering what was the what would be the reason why anybody would want to do a loan with a DSCR below 1? To me, it doesn't make any sense.
Let me paraphrase your question. You were asking why would people want to buy or use DSCR loan product over conventional? Did I understand it correctly?
No, use a DSCR for something with a DSCR below 1 doesn't make any sense. To me, it doesn't make any sense why anybody would want to buy a home where they can't cover their PITIA.
Okay. Why no ratio or DSCR that's not covering is still applying, right? There are two different reasons in LA market, or I'm going to give a specific example in LA market. Right now, the Section 8 has been Section 8 voucher reassurance and recertification has been stopped. Because of it, when the vacancy happens, because of the rent loss more than 6 months that's happening right now, is impacting the sales price. A 2-unit property that was sold at 1.2 to 1.5 is now selling at $900,000 to $1 million because of the rent loss. No one can expect when the tenants can come in. But if you're the investor, when you have about $400,000 or $500,000 sitting in your checking account, why don't you give your money a chance to work for you? Why don't you buy this property a little bit cheaper than before? Because ultimately, when everything comes back to norm, when the government agencies stop the shutdown and come back to the agencies again, then Section 8 vouchers will be relaunched, released again. Then when the investment property has a cash flow, then they can sell it at a higher price or engage this 1031 exchange. So this is a second reason. Anyone who made too much money, cost segregation applies. So regular depreciation, I didn't talk about this today in today's meeting, but there is two metrics that you have to understand. Depreciation, dividing the land and the property, and we use a 27.5-year rule for the depreciation. But for some of them, even with this depreciation, you may end up paying about $70,000 to $80,000 to IRS. For those, we apply the cost segregation rule to make it into 5, 7, and 10-year breakdowns and immediately relieve this $50,000, $70,000, $80,000 of tax cuts in a matter of days. That's why investment purchases using DSCR always comes in handy. I'll make a session about this tax strategies a little bit more. But in the investment seminar that I had last week, DSCR product and the questions came up occasionally. That's why I brought this up, because when you run the loan sifter with 1-year prepayment penalty, last week I saw 6.125 for single family, 6.625 for 4 units. You'll be amazed, because the DSCR rates are not by the 10-year Treasury bond. They use SOFR plus margin rates. They use different indices. Yes, Freddie.
Yeah, Peter, thank you. I actually love the presentation. This is probably going to be my favorite product going forward, and it has been for a minute. I just didn't dive deep into this. But what I see here, obviously, we have the ability to price with 1-year prepaid, which I like, because most DSCR loans that I've seen, across my table, they come with a 3 and a 5-year prepaid. So it puts the borrower in a really harsh, situation. However, besides Zillow, and I know obviously the 1007 will tell us what the rent is, what other tools are there to, we're looking for these loans, or we're trying to present an option to maybe an investor, or the other question, I guess this is a loaded question. For the average non-experienced investor, does this work for everybody, or do they have to come with a certain level of experience?
Good question. First time homeowner can apply the DSCR product. With some investors, there's a hit. For some, there's no hit. So Loan Sifter will give you a comparables in between yes and no. The first-time home buyers cannot use a larger deposit for the down payment and closing cost. Seasoned investors, on the other hand, can use the larger deposit. Let's assume that you had a $200,000 deposit that we can't source. It was a couch money. If you're the first-time home buyer, you cannot use this money. With a seasoned investors, you can use the money. How? Determining factor is showing 24 months of mortgage payment history. If you have a 24 months of a mortgage payment history on the credit report, then we immediately treat you as a seasoned investor on the DSCR. This is very different than hard money rule that we talked about a couple months ago. DSCR has a different indicators, but that's a great point. Any other questions?
Yeah, Peter, my second part to the question was, I know you presented you based on Zillow, and since I haven't been doing DSCR loans, I'm not sure how accurate the Zillow rent estimate can be, and if there are any other tools that would help me or a loan officer per se, and at least doing the initial numbers, running the initial numbers to make sure we have something, right? That the deal has legs. I know we'll find out the actual rent through an appraisal, but that's further down the road. We have to get to a transaction first. In my world, when I look at refinancing properties, whether it's multifamily, obviously we look at actual rent as for 3 years historical on the property to see, the property operating statement and stuff like that. But when the property is vacant, or let's say somebody trying to buy a single family home as an investment besides Zillow, do you have any other tools where we can estimate, with a certain degree of accuracy, the future rent for that property?
Most of the times they listed on the list, the Zillow and Redfin. So to encourage the buyers to calculate the DSCR ratios. But for those properties that doesn't have this information, that's where you collaborate with an agent. If you have access to MLS shows the market rent.
Okay, got it. Well, I do.
Good. Then it will be easier approach to you.
Okay,
if you type in the property, it shows the market rent next to it.
Yeah, because last time we had a DSCR lender presenting to us, I asked the same question, but I forgot what other tools he had, but he said, well, we'll go based on 1007. Okay, that's great, but when we're like, approaching new clients, 1007 comes down way down the road. We have to use other tools, other pre-tools to see whether or not we even have a deal.
So you, what you just shared reminded me that I needed to share. When you deal and talk to different DSCR lenders, guys, they talk about 1.25% DSCR ratio with 3 to 5 year prepay. But I just told you guys, we start with 1.0 DSCR, right? This is uncomparably different. This is why I guarantee you guys that we can beat on every single DSCR approaches, because we just work a little bit differently. We have different underwriting guidelines. Okay.
I agree. You just caught my attention because I've seen at least a couple of DSCR deals, recently, and I know most of them. It's 1.25 ratio with a 3 to 5 year prepay.
But imagine if you sell that, then your rebate will be about 3.5 to 5 on that loan amount. You'll be mind blown if you can sell that. But don't sell it. Don't lose a relationship because of the greediness. We don't have to try that hard. One small transaction will lead into multiple referrals, multiple investors around them, around this, this community. Alex.
Yes, when I was reading, because I have a first-time home buyer who wants to do a DSCR, but when I was reading some of their guidelines, they require 12 months of canceled checks. And say if you have first-time home buyers who are living with their parents to save money and they want to invest in properties, but they don't have that, are there lenders that do that?
Yes.
Okay.
So the purpose of the reason to ask the cancel check is because we couldn't verify the proof of rent payment because they were living with their parents. It's a rent-free transaction, right? So in that case, if you look into the credit report, you have to have 3 trade lines that is longer than 2 years each, or 2 trade lines with 3 years. When you show the payment history and the spending limit and spending habit that had no late payment histories for the last 24 to 36 months, then you can qualify. That's one of the exception rules.
Got it. Thank you.
Good. Next question. Anyone? We have 2 more minutes. I'll take one more question. Brenda, do you have any questions? I know you attended yesterday's meeting. I tweaked my content a little bit more in depth in today's meeting, right? Do you have any questions? Do you see any comparisons in between yesterday's and today's?
No, I don't. I mean, yesterday's was more focused on the agents for them to kind of understand DSCR a little bit more. And this went a little bit more in depth into the actual program and qualifying the borrowers. So.
Okay. The reason why I ask you, Brenda, is that one day you'll end up presenting these. Okay. What we're planning out this year is to create a small micro level meetings throughout the week as well. So you don't have to wait for a whole week to hear the new updates or I guess these programs. So we'll let you know when we have some set schedules or set recordings that we can, repeat over and over again. Well, I won't go over the time today as promised. And Q1 is ending next week. So how are we ending the Q1? Q2 is coming around the corner very soon. So next couple of weeks, we're going to focus on how to welcome, how to be prepared with spring markets, what pre-approval letters and pre-qualification we can approach and deliver to these agents and the buyers. And lastly, all these, to-dos, checklists that I expect as a leader, as a company, organization to loan officers, so that we all can expect some tangible updates and benefits from these trainings. Okay. Thank you everyone for hopping on. Have a great week and I'll see you all next week.